Have you ever heard of someone breaking every rule in the book just to do what's right? Not for fame, not for reward, but because their heart refused to sit still while others were dying. This story is about one woman, one pilot, who defied orders, risked her wings, and changed the course of a battlefield. This is the story of Captain Maya Reeves, the A-10 Warthog pilot who saved 385 Navy SEALs when everyone else said it was impossible. And before we start, make sure you subscribe to our channel Grow for Justice, because we bring you stories of real courage, truth, and sacrifice that the world needs to hear. And one more thing, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'd love to know who's hearing this story tonight. The desert air in the Kandahar Valley was still, eerily still, when the first explosion ripped through the morning silence. Inside Forward Operating Base Justice, the radios lit up with panic. Eagle 1, this is Delta Actual. We're under heavy fire. We've got 385 men pinned. Coordinates. The transmission broke into static, followed by gunfire, and then silence. The SEAL teams had gone deep into enemy territory for a critical extraction mission. But something had gone wrong. Their convoy had been ambushed. They were surrounded, pinned in a dried riverbed with no air, cover, and no way out. Back at base, the tactical room turned into chaos. Commanders barked orders, satellites scrambled to get visuals, and somewhere in that storm of voices, Captain Maya Reeves sat motionless in her A-10 Warthog, waiting. She had been grounded for disobeying protocol just 2 weeks earlier, accused of flying too close to enemy positions to save a medevac chopper. Technically, she wasn't even supposed to fly today, but when she heard the distress call, something in her broke. "They'll die," she whispered. "Every last one of them." Her co-pilot looked up. "Command says we stand by. Airspace restricted." She stared through the cockpit glass at the horizon, glowing orange with distant fire. "Restricted?" she muttered. "Tell that to the men bleeding down there." Before anyone could stop her, she fired up the engines. The A-10's turbines screamed to life. Ground crew shouted, waving their arms, but she was already rolling down the runway. "Captain Reeves, this is command. You are not cleared for takeoff." She pressed the comms button. "Then consider this bird hijacked, sir." And with that, she was gone. One woman against the system, heading straight into the fire. The A-10 Warthog wasn't built to be graceful. It was built to be deadly. It was slow, ugly, but unstoppable. A.S. Maya climbed altitude. She tuned into the emergency frequency. The sound that came through made her blood run cold. "Multiple wounded. We're surrounded. MLO. We can't hold for long." Maya pulled up the coordinates and saw the impossible. 385 Navy SEALs pinned in a valley, surrounded by mountains crawling with hostiles. Every airstrike request had been denied. Too risky, too close to civilians, too uncertain. She didn't care. Her father had been a SEAL once. He died on a mission no one dared to talk about. For Maya, this wasn't just another rescue. This was redemption. She flipped the armament switches, sidewinders, cannon rounds, and 2 500-pound bombs loaded and ready. "Hang in there," she whispered. "I'm coming." Down below, the trapped SEALs were out of options. Their radios crackled weakly. "We've got less than 10 minutes before we're overrun." Then suddenly, a roar split the air. A gray shadow cut through the smoke like thunder. "Is that?" One of the SEALs gasped. "It's an A-10, someone shouted. "We've got air cover." But they didn't know yet. It wasn't an assigned strike. It was her. Maya dove low, the GU-8 Avenger cannon spinning up with a growl that echoed like thunder across the mountains. She squeezed the trigger. BRRT. The 30mm rounds tore through enemy trucks, detonating ammo caches and scattering insurgents like dust. "Direct hit," the SEAL commander yelled. Maya circled again, ignoring the surface-to-air fire streaking past her canopy. Each pass was deadly, precise, controlled chaos. On her fourth run, a missile locked on. Missile launch. "Brake, brake, brake," shouted ground control. She banked hard right, flares popping behind her like comets, the missile exploding just a few hundred feet away. Inside the cockpit, her breathing was steady, calm, controlled. "They're not dying on my watch," she muttered. Back at base, chaos turned to fury. Commanders watched her feed in disbelief. "She's engaging without clearance. Pull her back. She's saving 385 of our men," yelled one junior officer, slamming his headset down. But orders were orders. If she didn't return immediately, she'd face court-martial. "Grow for justice. This is command," the radio crackled. "You are ordered to disengage and return to base." "That's a direct order." She pressed the switch. "Command, this is Justice 1. You can court-martial me later. Right now, I've got men on the ground who won't live another 5 minutes." And she cut the feed. Her co-pilot, tears in his eyes, whispered, "You'll lose your wings." Maya smiled faintly. "Then I'll fall with them." The SEALs were still trapped. She had bought them time, but reinforcements were miles away. Ammo was running low. Her plane had taken hits. The left wing was leaking fuel. Then came the second missile. She saw it too late. The explosion rocked the A-10, alarms screaming, panels cracking. Her co-pilot shouted, "Engine 2's gone. We're losing power." Maya gritted her teeth. "We're not done yet." Smoke poured into the cockpit. The plane rattled violently. But instead of retreating, she lined up one last run. Below, the SEALs saw her silhouette dive again, straight into the gunfire. "Is she insane?" one yelled. "No," the commander said quietly. "She's one of us." Her cannon thundered one final time, an ear-splitting roar that shook the valley. The last enemy line broke. Silence followed. The SEALs emerged from cover, dragging their wounded, staring at the smoldering wrecks of enemy vehicles. The A-10 was limping, its right engine trailing fire, but it was still flying up. Maya's voice came over the comms, weak but steady. "You're clear, Delta. Extraction inbound. Hold tight." Then, her transmission faded. Hours later, rescue choppers scoured the desert. They found her A-10 downed in the sand 5 miles from a valley. The canopy was cracked open, smoke rising from the wreckage, and O-1 was inside. Search teams spread out, and then they found her. Maya Reeves, bloodied but alive, walking toward the extraction site with her co-pilot leaning on her shoulder. The SEALs, 385 of them, stood waiting. When she appeared, they fell silent. Then, as one, they saluted. The commander stepped forward, tears streaking his face. "You broke every rule in the book," he said. "But if you hadn't, none of us would be here." She smiled faintly. "Then I guess the rules can wait." When she returned to base, military police were already waiting. Commanders furious, lawyers ready. But before any punishment could be read, a voice cut through the tension. IT was the Navy admiral who commanded the SEAL unit she had saved. He stepped forward, his tone calm but commanding. "If anyone here thinks they can court-martial the woman who saved 385 of my men, they can go ahead and explain that to their mothers." The room went silent. Maya Reeves didn't lose her wings that day. She gained something far greater: the eternal respect of every soldier who heard her story. Months later, when asked if she regretted defying orders, she simply said, "Rules are written in ink. Lives are written in blood. I chose the one that mattered more." Years passed. New pilots came and went. But in every A-10 briefing room, there was a photo. Her photo, captioned, "When command said no, she said, 'Watch me.'" Her call sign, Justice 1, became legendary. Not for the aircraft, but for the heart behind it. And every SEAL who made it home that day carried her story with them. At reunions, in letters, in silence when words failed, they remembered the thunder that came from the sky when hope had run out. The thunder that saved 385 lives. So now I ask you, what would you have done? Would you follow the rules or follow your heart? Tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what you think real justice means. And before you go, make sure to subscribe to Grow for Justice. Because every week, we share stories of courage, sacrifice, and humanity that the world needs to hear. Because justice always has a name.